On May 23, 2022, the Vietnamese government signed a directive designed to restructure the country's economic infrastructure. That document is Decision 633, the official Accounting and Auditing Strategy for 2030. In the strategy's opening section, the state establishes a new philosophical baseline. Section I.1 formally classifies accounting as a critical macroeconomic management tool. The ultimate destination for 2030 is clear: construct a fully transparent financial market capable of integrating seamlessly with the global economy. To reach that target, the strategy relies on three distinct operational phases: a regulatory overhaul, the rapid expansion of market capacity, and final ecosystem integration. This convergence is mandatory. For Vietnam to secure advanced foreign institutional investment, it must eliminate the opacity discount that currently suppresses the value of its capital markets. Section IV of the document provides the actual architectural blueprint for the next decade. The first pillar is the regulatory framework, establishing legal foundations and reporting standards. The second is market capacity, providing human capital to bear the load. The third caps the system through digital and global linkages, connecting domestic data to international networks. These elements are entirely interdependent. If the legal standards are written but the talent pool fails to mature on the required timeline, the 2030 Transparency Initiative stalls. The first step is pushing the legal framework through the National Assembly. The strategy sets an aggressive initial deadline. By 2024, drafts to amend both the accounting law and the independent auditing law must be submitted for legislative review. Inside that new legal container, the reporting standards themselves are changing. Vietnam is abandoning its one-size-fits-all approach in favor of a tiered system. For the top tier, public interest entities face a mandatory transition to International Financial Reporting Standards, or IFRS. Below them, standard local enterprises will adopt Vietnam Financial Reporting Standards, or VFRS. And for the public sector, the state is creating Vietnam Public Sector Accounting Standards, or VITS. For businesses accustomed to the legacy Vietnamese accounting standards, this tiered transition guarantees significant internal friction and restructuring. Passing laws simply draws the boundaries. The true test of the system is whether the market has the human capacity to actually comply with them. Strict new laws generate a massive compliance gap if there is no one to independently verify the numbers. To close that gap, the decree introduces a sweeping mandate. By 2025, 100% of large-scale enterprises must have their financial statements audited, eliminating previous exemptions based on ownership type. This immediate operational deadline will trigger a sudden spike in demand for professional audit services. This chart shows the state's numerical solution to that human capital bottleneck. The government aims to produce exactly 15,000 certified auditors by the year 2030. Section 4.6 outlines the policy mechanisms to hit that target, relying heavily on modernized university training programs, updated certification processes, and the digitalization of education. Regulators are also placing a specific regulatory focus on actively upgrading the skill sets of chief accountants currently working inside public interest companies. The government is essentially engineering the market, forcing demand through the 2025 mandate while simultaneously subsidizing the supply of talent to reach the 2030 target. Once the laws are set and the talent is deployed, the system requires a final upgrade, moving from localized paper trails to integrated digital data. Under Section IV-48, the strategy mandates a digital transformation, specifically demanding the creation of centralized state databases for financial reporting. Centralized databases serve a dual purpose. They allow for automated, state-level monitoring, and they drastically reduce the administrative reporting burdens placed on compliant businesses. Scaling this domestic efficiency requires connecting Vietnamese reporting data to international professional networks. The strategy embeds Vietnamese professional associations directly into global nodes, including IFAC, the ASEAN Federation of Accountants, and CAPA. By participating, Vietnam can negotiate mutual recognition agreements, ensuring its domestic audit certificates carry legal weight internationally. This digital and international integration is exactly what ultimately translates localized domestic compliance into tangible international market trust. When you view the strategy as a whole, it operates as an interlocking mechanism. The standards require the auditors, and the auditors supply the data to the international network. But executing a decade-long policy across a rapidly growing economy introduces severe operational risk. The document explicitly assigns liability for that risk. Article 3 places direct responsibility for implementation on ministers and the chairpersons of provincial people's committees. It creates a dual-layered execution model. The Ministry of Finance drives the overarching standard, but local provincial chairs must enforce it on the ground. This decentralized approach requires rigorous state oversight to prevent uneven application across different provinces. For CFOs and global investors, the core takeaway is absolute. The era of localized, opaque financial reporting in Vietnam is actively expiring. The implementation sequence is tight. Laws are rewritten in 2024, massive audit mandates trigger in 2025, and full integration slated for 2030. The Ministry of Finance has its mandate. The burden now falls on corporations to build their internal reporting capacity before those regulatory deadlines hit.